As I went back through your bio before this, I realized that you hit a milestone last year with your 25th overall season, I believe it was, as a women's college basketball head coach. As you kind of think back to all the changes and the changes that we're currently undergoing right now, are we in, over the last couple of years, the biggest period of change that you've ever experienced?
No question. Absolutely. I think it's exciting times. I mean, when you look at for student athletes and you know, just all the time and the commitment that they put together. But I absolutely think in the landscape of college athletics, the biggest changes I've ever seen up to this point.
So how have you adjusted and evolved over the course of your career to keep up with all those changes?
Well, you know, I heard this great quote recently, and it's really, you know, you have to be able to adapt or you're going to be irrelevant. And I think as a competitor myself and coming up through the landscape of sports and being a former student athlete, you always want to be relevant and you want to be able to compete. So I've tried to be in front of it, be proactive, to know and understand as much as you possibly can, and you know, work the landscape and within it, and you know, hope that you know it allows you to be successful.
You're uniquely qualified to watch the other schools leaving a conference and come into this one, because you did it 10 years ago, as I think it was almost exactly 10 years to the day that I came to College Park and interviewed you prior to Maryland joining the Big Ten. I know that Tina spent some time on your staff,
right, and
is now at Washington. What advice would you give to her or any of the other coaches that are coming into a situation that you've already been through?
You know, I liken it to a coaching change that you never had to move. You're learning all these new teams. I think it's invigorating, you know, just being, you know, there for really all four of those programs and being supportive, because like you said, I've been through it. But, you know, change is hard, but it's also, you know, I remember the first year we came into it, we went undefeated in the league and, you know, got to the Final Four that year. So, you know, when you go into another program, and we're bringing in additional 4 phenomenal teams, so it's just going to enhance the conference.
And we want to obviously continue to build on the momentum and the popularity that women's college basketball has right now. How do we do that?
You know, I think you continue to show your support, and that's, you know, by our fans coming out and, you know, breaking the attendance record in the Big Ten tournament, coming out in your home sites and supporting your teams. And then from a visibility end, you know, continuing to provide that content so many eyes and the viewership is upon us.
So what does it feel like to be part of this movement? I think this was the first year ever that the women's tournament was more watched from a viewership standpoint than the men's tournament. We know what tickets went for at so many different games, and the overall interest level in the sport. So for someone who's been doing this for a quarter century, what's it like to watch?
You know, it's really gratifying. You know, something that you're kind of like, it's long overdue. You know, when you see these women's student athletes that put in and invest as much time and the commitment level, the same thing with all these coaching staffs, to finally see the viewership and the level of excitement that's out there for women's athletics, is specifically women's basketball, is, you know, you're just really satisfied, but also want to continue to keep growing the sport, even to, you know, whatever heights and levels we can.
What about the location of the Big Ten tournament, which has found a home but also rotates? And we've seen it the last couple of years in Minneapolis, where there was tremendous support, and I'm sure the 4 new schools would like it to inch a little bit west, and I'm sure those of you on the East Coast would like it to inch a little bit further east. So how do we find that happy medium of trying to make everyone happy?
You know, I don't know that you're going to find that. I think you're going to have to rotate it, you know, just because of the conference and just, you know, the distances that you're going to see out there. So I think as long as you continue to see, you know, teams and programs, you know, traveling and supporting it, I think that's the most important thing, and continue to be the best tournament out there. I mean, the Big Ten has shown they put, you know, the best conference tournament together.
I'd love to finish with a big picture topic that has been a hot button topic in the transfer portal, and where it is and where it's headed. I know different coaches and different programs like to use it in different fashions. Where are we in terms of what we've done to make it really good, and what still needs to happen to make it get where it needs to be?
You know, it's definitely ever changing. I mean, I'm a coach that you know, in this off season we signed 6 kids out of the portal, so it's been something for us that's been really, really good. We've also had players that have you know, in their own right, you know, found better homes. So you know, this is the landscape we're in. It's not going to change. So again, I think you have to be able to adapt. You know, I think you have to make sure that kids are graduating. I think if you have the multiple transfers and too many, I think that's the concern from an academic end, what that looks like within their own individual footprint. But I think you continue to evaluate how individually it's met the needs of you know, a lot of student athletes.